Well, this is going to be the first autumn budget of the new government, and it is a moment, really their first big moment, to try and turn the needle on the UK economy and get things going their way. And that means focusing on a few policies. We've heard a few things so far about what may well be coming up from the government. Stamp duty, there could well be a cut in stamp duty for first-time buyers. Lots of speculation about that. House building, another commitment to build more homes. We hear that all the time from the government. Whether they can actually move ahead with it, we'll have to see. And cars, there may well be another freeze on fuel duty, but what about for diesel engines? That might well be a different story. Move those along, and there are a variety of other potential policies coming up. Measures like universal credit, potentially cutting the waiting period there for universal credit. Tax-free allowance, they may well raise that early but freeze it in the future. And VAT, as you can get a sense, there aren't necessarily any big eye-catching policies amongst these. All of interest, but nothing enormous. And that's because of a few trends that we're seeing behind the scenes, one of which is this one. Now, at the time of the last budget, so remember, back in spring, the UK economy was the fastest growing economy at an annual rate in the G7. Now, have a look at this chart over here. It is the slowest growing economy in the G7. And part of the explanation for that is this chart. This is productivity, and it shows you, each of these lines going up shows you just what the OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility, was expecting to happen to productivity. Britain's bang for buck. Each year over the past 5 or 6 years, they thought it was going to rise. And look what happened. It's that white line. It just didn't rise. It flatlined. And as a result of that, there is less money to spend. Weaker productivity means less money in the pot. And as a result, the Chancellor is going to be concerned about his borrowing figures. So we'll be keeping a close eye on these numbers tomorrow. Are they going to go up? The possibility is they could well do that. And the real concern is throughout the last few months, indeed, we have started to see this happening again. This shows you real wages, so the rate at which your wages minus inflation are changing each year. Remember the post-crisis period, we had that big squeeze. It looked like that was over in the last few years, but since the referendum, we have seen another fall. So people are being squeezed again at the fastest rate than they have been since the aftermath of the crisis. The question is whether the Chancellor can come up with something to make them feel happier about that.